Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today we're tackling something that I know can cause some major headaches in the maritime world.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about D&D as it's commonly known.
Right, D&D. Those charges that rack up when you're exceeding the agreed upon time for loading and unloading cargo, or for returning those containers.
Definitely a pain point for the industry.
And a costly one.
Absolutely. We're talking serious money here.
So let's dive right in. First off, just how expensive are these D&D charges? Give us an idea of the kind of financial hit we're talking about.
Well, you're looking at charges that can range anywhere from, say, $75 per container per day to, sometimes even $300 or more.
Per day?
Yeah. And it can really add up quickly. I mean, especially when you consider the sheer volume of containers moving around the world every single day.
It's mind-boggling. And I think what makes it even more frustrating is that calculating these D&D charges, it's not exactly straightforward.
No, it's incredibly complex because you have to factor in all these different variables, right? You have the different carrier tariffs, you have the varying rules and regulations at each port, and then you throw in things like holidays and weekends, and it becomes, well, a logistical nightmare.
It really is. You basically need a PhD in maritime law just to figure out what you owe. And then there's the whole manual management aspect of it. I mean, it's just incredibly tedious and time-consuming. You're going through contracts, tracking shipments, verifying invoices, and it's just, well, it's prone to errors. So let's talk solutions. I understand there's a company, Windward, that has developed a new D&D automation solution. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So Windward is really interesting because they are utilizing generative AI to tackle this problem head on.
Generative AI for D&D.
You got it.
How does that even work?
Well, their system is essentially designed to automate the whole D&D calculation process. So it takes into account, like I was saying before, those different variables like tariffs, free days, holidays, working hours, all that stuff to come up with a really accurate figure.
So it's not just about looking at past data, it's actually predicting potential delays and factoring those into the equation.
Exactly. And that's where the generative AI comes in, because it can look at these patterns and really come up with these predictions based on all this data that it's constantly processing. It's pretty remarkable.
It sounds like it. So what kind of benefits are we talking about here for freight forwarders?
I think the most immediate benefit is the time savings. Windward claims, and this is pretty amazing, that they can cut down D&D billing time from, get this, over 30 days down to under a minute.
30 days to under a minute.
I know, it's wild, right? But it really speaks to the power of this kind of technology.
And I imagine it's not just the time savings.
Yeah.
Right. You're also probably getting much more accurate calculations.
Absolutely. Increased accuracy, which of course translates into, better financial control. You're not overpaying. You're not dealing with those discrepancies that can arise when you're doing things manually.
Right. It all makes sense. But I'm still curious, how does it actually work? What's the tech behind it?
Well, at the core of it is Windward's proprietary AI models. They've been developing these models for years, and they've been feeding them with this enormous amount of data. I mean, we're talking everything from shipping routes and schedules to historical D&D data, even real-time vessel tracking information. It's incredible.
So they basically built this huge database that allows the AI to make these predictions with such accuracy. And I read something about a feature they have called MAI Expert.
Oh, yes, MAI Expert. It's basically like having, your own personal subject matter expert right there in the platform.
But you can, break down the charges for you, explain why you're being charged a certain amount.
It can. It can also send you alerts if there are any potential discrepancies. It's like a safety net, right? To make sure you're not being overcharged or anything like that. And it's incredibly user-friendly, I've heard. Anyone can use it.
So it takes all the complexity out of the equation.
It's scalable, too, which is huge for companies that are dealing with hundreds or even thousands of shipments at any given time.
Yeah, that makes sense. It really sounds like Windward's solution has the potential to revolutionize the way D&D is managed in the maritime industry. I mean, we're talking about increased efficiency, transparency, predictability. It's really quite impressive.
It is. It really highlights how powerful these AI-powered tools can be. And, when you think about it, taking all this tedious work off people's plates, it frees them up to focus on more strategic tasks.
Exactly. And ultimately, that's what's going to lead to a smoother, more efficient global trade network.
I think so.
It certainly has the potential to change the dynamics of the industry.
It does.
Well, I think this has been a really insightful look at the challenges of D&D and the potential solutions that are out there. If any of our listeners are interested in learning more about Windward's solution, we've included some links, including their free D&D calculator. It's definitely worth checking out. And that wraps up another deep dive. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.